in a more stable market, would you be open to liquidity coming, within the framework that we discussed now, X percentage being a fraction of vested options, all that stuff being in place, but the financing for that coming from external sources?
I feel like it's, of course, as you and I know, there are one or two funds which are even specialized in doing this, right? They find their entry through, wanting to pile onto a round either through a primary or enable or use a hook of providing this kind of financing, which the primary capital may or may not like to keep providing for. And so what you're doing in a sense is expanding the round to finance this. So it's a variant of, crudely put, venture debt equivalent. So, venture debt, the debt is used for some other purpose, not necessarily for financing something like this. Here you're saying that, look, I need $100 of primary capital. Today, what is the judgment that the board is making? That $5 of that is okay to use for this purpose, right? Instead, I'll be very objective about this and say that the way to think about it is very logically that I'm raising 105 instead of 100. I'm preserving the other 5 as primary capital, and I'm using this 5 to finance a buyback of this nature. The question I think one has to ask is that a fund buy? Is it retail? Is it HNI? Is it family office? What are the rights around that? People who buy into the primary, there are two advantages of the primary, that you're getting the same financial and exit rights. So there's less complexity in dealing with differential rights for the investor from the investor perspective. And secondly, the employees are getting, because the buyback is happening almost at the same valuation, there's very little discount negotiations when it's happening from the balance sheet, right? If you have a standalone purchasing, it creates 3 issues which the company has to think about. One is, such a buyer will say that these are, different rights for this equity, whatever said and done. And very rarely will the primary guys allow for certain mid-course upgrade of these rights to look like their rights from the last round, etc. So which means they will ask and impose a discount. And, you're sitting there as CFO or CEO trying to negotiate this. And the financier of this may not be a single person, right? If it is a single fund, then it's a easier negotiation and discussion. If you're pooling interest of this nature, then somebody has to sort of be the merchant banker in between and agree to a set of terms and go and crowdsource this capital and bring it in. And ideally, will that crowdsource capital come under one vehicle or, multiple names? So you don't want the nuisance of financing something like this now being spread out to 10 different, equity holders who have come into the cap table. So all of these have to be thought through, and which is why I think people have opted for the simplest way of executing this so far, right? Which is just convince the board that I'll keep some money out for this, right?